me, Eva Hinz, Chief of Advocacy and Communication, UNICEF Office in Sudan. Eva, thank you for being with us. UN is alarming that Sudan faces unprecedented hunger and displacement, describing it's one of the worst humanitarian crises of the 21st century. And we have so little information reaching us from Sudan. How would you describe the situation on the ground?
I would say it's the needs are staggering in Sudan today. And if we look at the number of children who need humanitarian assistance this year, it's an increase by more than 20% compared to last year. And today, more than 15 million children in Sudan need humanitarian assistance. And these children face numerous difficulties. These are all interlaid. It is violence that continues. There are children that continue to be killed and injured. Famine is knocking on the doors in many places of Sudan. There are disease outbreaks that stalk and make children weaker. There's many different things that are happening at the same time. There are so many children that have been forced to flee from their homes, leave everything behind, and they're trying to make it, and it's equally difficult for their parents to take care of them and make sure that they have a place and an environment to grow up in.
And how the situation has changed in the recent weeks, especially after the army forces took over new territories and including capital Khartoum, how it has affected civilians?
Well, it's very much in many places here on the ground, the situation continues to be very fluid, so it's developing. I recently returned from Khartoum State with some colleagues of mine, and the good news is that there are some people who are returning. That being said, even if the fact that they can go back, and that indicates that there's access to these areas, which is good news, it still means that in many places services are very limited, sometimes non-existent. So when people go back, there's very limited access to water, there's limited access to healthcare, limited access to nutrition, limited access to learning. So the needs in these areas are particularly big. So it is very important that every single delivery of aid that is sent through, that it gets where it needs to go without delays, without being stopped on the way.
So how do you work under those difficult circumstances? How you deliver the basic aid to people?
We are here for all the children, and we aim to reach as many children as we can. We work in close partnership with a number of partners on the ground, national and international NGOs. And we have, of course, colleagues also on the ground aiming to reach as many children as possible.
And are you also able to cooperate somehow with the army forces in delivering aid?
Well, our role is here to be for the children. We are a humanitarian actor, so we speak to whomever we need to in order to make sure that we get the aid where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me more about the children, their stories, their faces? What do they say when they meet you, when you talk to them?
Well, many of these children, we estimate millions of children have been forced to flee their homes since the war started, and many have been forced to leave not only once but 2 times, 3 times, sometimes even more than that. And when I meet these children in places for displaced children, for different sites, many of them talk about the different things that they've lost. They talk about how some of them have lost loved ones, mothers or fathers, they've lost brothers or sisters, friends. Some of them have lost their homes, their houses. They've lost the chance to go to school. Some might have lost limbs. So there's a lot of loss that they talk about. Many of them want to go home. Many of them want to have a chance to go back to learning. This is a war that's not the making of these children. And we really need to make every effort to make sure that their rights are fulfilled and that they receive the services that they need.
And is there any particular story that stayed with you in your mind and touched your heart that you've heard from a child?
Well, I can tell you about what happened earlier this week. As I mentioned, I was back in Khartoum State with some of my colleagues. And this is, I was there last time around in August. And when I was there in August with my colleagues, we met with some boys in a child-friendly space that had been hit by shelling the previous day. And when the shelling hit, there was a group of boys that were playing football, and some of the boys were killed on the spot, some were injured. And when I met them in August, they were very serious. Of course, it was a very tragic event. So I had a chance to speak to these boys. Then I had a chance to meet their mothers. There were boys who had bandages around their heads. They were in severe pain at that point. So this week I had a chance to go back to the same place and meet some of these boys again. And it was great to see that they have started healing. Some of the wounds, physical wounds, are no longer there. They've been able to go back to school. There's a school for the internally displaced in the neighborhood. So these type of moments give me hope. Of course, it's a long way to recovery, and not all wounds are visible. So of course, these boys, it will take a very long time to process that they've seen some of their friends die in front of their eyes. But it does give me hope. There is some progress and glimpses of hope.
And how would you describe this war in Sudan? It's approaching its third year, and we really do not talk much about this war worldwide. We focus on other conflicts, and if you would have to compare with other conflicts in the world, what is the difference between the war in Sudan and other conflicts you've been to?
I think one shouldn't compare conflicts or suffering. It's equally terrible in these different places around the world. But what I can say, in Sudan, the numbers are absolutely staggering. The magnitude of this crisis is enormous. We're talking about millions of children who've been forced to leave their homes, millions of children that go hungry, millions of children that are at risk of disease outbreaks, millions of children that are at risk of being killed, injured every single day. So I really think that it's very critical that we do talk about this. Things are very difficult. This is a living nightmare for these children, and we really can't afford to look away or abandon these children.
There's also estimation of over 12 million women and girls being at risk of a sexual assault. And have you seen those cases? And is it possible to deliver some support and aid to the victims of the sexual violence in Sudan?
UNICEF recently published a report on sexual violence, so very much around this very same topic. And in the data that we gathered together with service providers on the ground, it talks about 221 children, starting from the beginning of last year, that they were raped. 4 of these children are under the age of 1, 16 of these children are under the age of 5. So it really underscores how children are not safe. And of course, this is horrendous. And it does not end there where something like this happens. It is something that follows them for a very long time. Many of the survivors, they're scared. There's a lot of fear of retribution, and many of them don't feel comfortable going or coming forward. And what we do know from the frontliners who are there, who then come in touch with these children, so they talk about how critical it is that when there are services, when there is a safe space where a young girl or a young woman can go and report, that this is when people feel more comfortable to come forward, they feel more comfortable to report. So these spaces are incredibly important. It's also the place where many of them start receiving support, whether that's because often some bones could be broken, there are other physical injuries, so they need health services, they need legal services. They also often, with this enormous amount of trauma, it's very important to receive psychosocial support. So there are some services available. Are there services enough? Absolutely not. The needs are staggering, and it is so important to invest more in this. It's a very critical area of work. And if we look at the entire child protection sector, so this is the entire sector, not only UNICEF's work, it is severely underfunded. So it's very critical to invest more in it and really make sure that the services are there where these children need them the most. And besides funding, this is also about access. So oftentimes this happens in a place where the front lines are very close. So it is critical that the survivors can come forward, that they feel safe. There's a safe way to travel to where the services are present, as well as then it is critical to make sure that the frontline workers who do provide the services, that they can cross the front lines, they can travel safely and then provide these services.
So as I understand also from what you said, the world is not doing enough for Sudan and for children in Sudan.
I would say if we're looking at the needs, which are enormous at this point, and then if we look at the amount of services, because we are here as UNICEF, we are here on the ground, we are staying, we are delivering together with a number of other humanitarian actors, but we do need more support, whether that's then support to get access, whether that's support to get funding. It is very critical that we invest now, because it's not only the immediate future, but these children's future in the long run.
Is there anything you would like to add on the situation on the ground that has to be said?
I would like to reflect on something that one of the frontline workers told me, and she underscored how important it is that we stay with the children, that this is the 11th hour, that we cannot abandon them. And I think she spoke very well, and I'd like to echo her words. We are here for the children, and I'm appealing for anyone who can to support and stand with us.